Hello friend, are you new to Terraria and wondering what all this talk about classes is about? Well, look no further, this video will cover all you need to know about classes in Terraria, from what it means, how to pick a class, the pros and cons of choosing one to specialize in, and an introduction to each class so you can see which one you want to try out. I'm Zuzucorn and I aim to entertain you, encourage you, and offer you a place to call home, so subscribe now and join the Zuzucorn family. Let's begin. When people talk about classes in Terraria, they usually refer to the voluntary decision to use a certain type of weapon during their playthroughs. You'll be relieved to hear that there are no real classes or jobs like in other games, and you're free to use whatever weapon you craft or find with no drawbacks at all. If you want to use the sword you found in the ice biome, then switch to a bow and arrow for flying enemies, you absolutely can do so. Some people enjoy this freedom and use a variety of weapons throughout the game, adapting to whatever challenge is in their way. In a sense, these people are choosing to be a jack of all trades, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'd recommend you to play this way if it's your very first time. It's great to experience and try out all sorts of weapons you come across. So in summary, strictly speaking, there is no such thing as a class in Terraria. But since you're not forced into choosing a specialization, why do people still do it? Why limit yourself to say, only magic weapons? What's the benefit? Well, the answer lies in the fact that weapons are not the only part of your build. Other essential components include armor sets and accessories. Some types of armors provide bonuses for specific weapon types. For example, the Molten Armor set made from Hellstone bars provides bonuses for melee weapons. It boosts your melee damage, melee speed, and melee critical strike chance. The Obsidian armor, on the other hand, increases your summon damage. It gives you an additional summon slot and boosts your whip's range, damage, and speed. Later on, you also have various choices for the same armor set. For example, the Hollowed armor set has various helmets, with each one providing a different set bonus overall. Accessories are similar, and might even be more specialized in some cases. The Magic Quiver, for example, boosts damage and speed for arrows specifically, and not the other range subtypes like bullets, while the Yo-Yo Bag provides unique benefits for yo-yos only, which are a subset of the melee group. Because Terrarians have limited slots for armors and accessories, it is usually more efficient to optimize for the weapon type you like the most. So in Terraria, it is somewhat true that a jack of all trades is a master of none. But is it oftentimes better than a master of one? In this game, not really, other than freedom and versatility. One illustrative example I can offer you is the mix of melee and magic weapons. Say you love the cool swords in Terraria, and you've got a set of melee armor right now. You're super strong and destroy everything that stands in your path. But you come across a magic weapon that you kind of want to use too. Right off the bat, you'll start to realize that mana might be an issue. Even if you increase it to the default maximum, things might still feel a little sluggish. Yet, if you start changing your build into a hybrid one, your swords may no longer pack the same punch as before. Compare this to someone else who is a full-on mage with mage accessories. This Terrarian would have mana even higher than the default max, with increased mana regen, increased magic damage, increased mana efficiency, and so on. Perhaps it would be wiser to just stick with your melee builds for maximum damage output. Of course, this is more significant in some situations than others. If you just want to use an extra summon for that tiny boost in damage, then there are probably no downsides to that. If you just want a range weapon to deal with the annoying flying enemies, then that's no problem too. But just know that trying to go full on half-half hybrid between two classes won't be as efficient in general. There are some hybrid armor sets out there, but they are not really an endgame thing. But if all you want to do is have fun, then go ahead. That's the most important thing after all. Play the game how you want to play it. So, having heard about the benefits of choosing a main class to stick to, maybe you're now interested in the types of classes and subcategories in the game. Maybe you want to see what's cool so you can try it out for yourself. That's great, cause I'll now briefly cover all the class types so you can make an informed decision. Firstly, we have the melee or warrior class. Warriors are tanky fighters who get up close and personal to enemies, dishing out high close range damage. With a unique arsenal of weapons from swords, flails, flying knives, and even yo-yos, you're clearly Relogic's favourite poster child. Generally, Melee armors and accessories focus on swing speed and melee damage, and also make your character slightly tankier compared to the others. Melee weapons span from a plethora of swords, to some flying and throwing weapons like the Light Disc or Shadow Flame Knife, to some flails like the Flareon or Dial of Pow, and even to yo-yos, which are a special subset in itself. All of them benefit from melee stat boosts in certain ways, but yo-yos in particular require a different accessory loadout. Yo-yos follow your cursor, and the yo-yo accessories enhance this by providing a counterweight to protect you, longer string length and thus longer range, and can even outright double the yo-yo damage. So if you want to be Relogic's favourite child, equipped with all sorts of different unique weapons, try out the melee class. Hint hint, the best weapon in the game is classified as a melee weapon, although it does destroy everything regardless of whatever class you play. So maybe that's not so convincing. Next we have the ranged class. Rangers are fast-firing individuals who rain down hordes of projectiles on the enemy from afar. With free reign to constantly dish out damage while staying mobile and safe, Rangers offer flexibility like no other class. The ranged class has armors that boost your range damage and critical strike chance. Unique to the ranged weapon type is the attribute Conserve Ammo. Because most ranged weapons require ammo to fire, some armors and accessories give you a set percentage chance to not consume ammo. For example, if there is a 20% ammo conservation chance, it means on average, you only use up 8 bullets out of every 10 shots. Since you'll be firing tons and tons of projectiles from hundreds to thousands of them, this can go a really long way, especially for the more expensive crafted bullets. Rangers also have 3 main archetypes. We have the bows, the guns, and the rocket launchers. Bows use arrows as their ammo and have a few specific accessories, one of the most important ones being the magic quiver, which I've already mentioned. This accessory doubles the speed of arrows, which helps to compensate for poor aiming since arrows do have weight and are affected by gravity. Guns on the other hand use bullets which pretty much travel straight ahead. However, the catch here is that different guns have different firing speeds and bullet spreads, which makes aiming quite difficult sometimes. For example, the chain gun is one of the fastest firing guns in the game, but it has a very erratic bullet spread. Lastly, the rocket launchers use rockets as their ammo, but these are unlocked pretty late into the game. These are special and have the ability to destroy blocks sometimes. But regardless of which archetype you choose, if you like being a high damaging character who kills enemies from afar, the Ranger might be the class for you. Next, we have the Mage or Magic class. Mages are players with the most unique group of weapons, dishing out high damage while micromanaging their mana levels. Almost all magic weapons have some unique feature, be it projectile, firing style, or damage over time attributes. There are weapons that fire projectiles that bounce around the room, projectiles that split apart after connecting with an enemy or wall, weapons that summon projectiles from the sky, projectiles from the ground, rapid fire projectiles, and even a freaking laser beam. It's safe to say that you won't ever be bored playing a mage in Terraria. However, the catch for being so versatile is that these magic weapons all require mana, which regenerates naturally over time, so you can't really go ham the same way as you can for melee or range weapons. But there is a way around this though, through an accessory called the Mana Flower, which will automatically drink mana potions for you. However, the downside is that regenerating mana this way also reduces your magic damage output, so you have to decide if it's a compromise that you're willing to make. Mages are also comparatively squishy, but they have absurd levels of damage output to make up for it. So if you want to have the most unique and varied experiences in Terraria, and dish out tons of damage while being a glass cannon, and you're kind of okay with mana management, then Mage is just for you. Lastly, we have the Summoner class. Summoners command minions, from a horde of bees to imps to a group of bats or flying swords, or even a ghost, tiger, or celestial dragon. These players leave most of the work to their familiars, but can also deal loads of damage by whipping the enemy into submission, boosting their minion damage further in the process. Summoner armors boost summon and whip damage, but also increase the total minion count a player can have. By default, players can only summon one minion, but this can go up to 11 if you really want to push it. For most minions, this just increases the number of friends that you can have. For others, every additional summon strengthens the minion, increasing its speed and damage. Special ones like the Stardust Dragon gets an additional damaging segment with each minion slot, which boosts its damage exponentially. Different whips also have special effects, like damage over time, minion damage amplification, or even special projectiles that deal bonus damage. Unfortunately though, summoners are also the squishiest of the lot, which makes it slightly more challenging to whip your enemies at close range. But that's okay because different summons deal damage differently, which makes some better than others in different situations depending on who your opponent is. No matter the foe, you'll be able to find a suitable familiar. If you feel like you need a couple of in-game friends to do everything for you while you stand still and AFK, then Summoner is the class for you. That covers all you need to know for classes in Terraria. Like I said, you don't actually have to choose one, you can use them in any way you want. It's okay if your damage output isn't the highest it can be, because what matters is that you have fun. But if you do want to try out a specific class though, let me know down in the comments which one you're most excited to try. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more informative tutorials and other fun stuff. This has been Zuzucorn. Have a nice day and have a great week ahead. Bye bye.